Muy buenos días para todos ustedes, gracias a todas las personas que se están uniendo en este momento en el canal. Señores, el presidente Donald Trump tuvo un rally esta madrugada en Traverse City, Michigan. Hubo un retraso de más de 2 horas, sí, es cierto, hubo un retraso ante la llegada de Donald Trump, pero fue porque tuvo una entrevista con Joe Rogan que se está haciendo viral en este momento en las redes sociales. En los próximos videos que les estaré subiendo en las próximas horas estaremos abordando esta entrevista que actualmente tiene más de 6 millones de reproducciones en menos de 24 horas. Esta entrevista duró 3 horas seguidas. Déjame decirte que grabar y hacer una transmisión en vivo por 3 horas no es fácil. No es fácil, lo he hecho y de verdad que te cansa, de verdad que cansa. Entonces, esta fue la razón de por qué Donald Trump tardó en llegar al rally que tenía previsto a las 7:30 de la noche. Esto fue temprano, la cantidad de personas presentes en Traverse City, Michigan, esperando al expresidente para poder hablar su plan presente. Miren la cantidad de personas que estaban presentes reuniéndose a este rally para poder ingresar a la arena, por supuesto pasando por la verificación de seguridad y los hangares para esperar al expresidente Donald J. Trump. Sí, señores.
China, anywhere in the world in Mexico owned by China, I just killed it. It's dead. It's dead. The joint would have closed up. This thing's so big, and I.
Perfecto. Michigan, aguanta. Donald Trump está literalmente acelerando a más de 511 nudos para llegar a Traverse City. Ojalá pudiera estar allí para ver llegar a su avión, por supuesto. Hubo un retraso por el tema de la entrevista con Joe Rogan y básicamente el avión iba a 511 nudos. ¿Ustedes saben cuántos son 511 nudos? Son como aproximadamente 980 kilómetros por hora. Iba durísimo el avión, por supuesto, porque había un retraso. Pero el retraso era esta entrevista que tuvo con Joe Rogan por 3 horas. Por supuesto, tenemos el rally full en español para todos ustedes, los subtítulos en pantalla.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am so sorry. Here's what they wanted to do. We got so tired up, and I figured you wouldn't mind too much because we're trying to win. And I got interviewed by actually a great guy. I didn't know him too.
Ahí Donald Trump se disculpa con la audiencia. Disculpen de que no llegué a tiempo. Es que tuve una entrevista de 3 horas con Joe Rogan y esa fue la razón de por qué llegué tarde. Básicamente es un líder que le importa al pueblo. O sea, él sabe que llegó tarde y él dice, disculpen, pero la razón de por qué llegué tarde fue por esto y por esto. ¿Sabes? Entonces, eso es una persona responsable a la cual admite lo que sucedió y pide disculpas.
Too well, but I got to know him because it was the longest interview I've ever done in my life. Joe Rogan, a good guy. And it's, it's quite something, and we had some other things really important. And I said, we're going to get this stuff done. And my people came to me, sir, we could cancel our evening event. I'm sure the people wouldn't mind. I said, are you crazy? I'm not canceling. There's no way. I'm not canceling. There's no way. We never even... So I apologize, but it's all about winning. We got to win, and we did some things today that will help us win. I think we did a lot of taping, a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of everything, and we're way up. I'm not supposed to say that, but we're way up. Not only the polls, but the early voting. I guess we're leading in all 7 swing states. But, okay, forget I said it. Forget it. Because everybody has to go out and vote. Who's voted so far? Who's going to vote? I always figure you like to vote a little bit late. This party just likes to vote a little bit late, and that's okay. I understood it. I never went crazy over the one or the other, but we're leading actually in places where traditionally the Republicans don't lead. In fact, they can go down 30 and then they catch him at the end, right? But a little scary, a little spooky. But we're leading in just about everyone, right? Just about everyone. And it's usually they lead, and then we catch them, and then in our case, we usually beat them. We did great in 2016. We did much better in 2020, but you know, a lot of bad things happened there. But this one blows it away because we've never had enthusiasm like this. And part of the reason is they're so bad. You know, you got a little dose of bad management. You got a little dose of incompetent people. You know where she is tonight? She's out partying. So Israel is attacking. We got a war going on, and she's out partying. At least we're working to make America great again. That's what we're doing. Kamala, he's the worst president in the history of our country. She's the worst vice president in the history of our country. She was on CNN the other night, 2 nights ago. She couldn't put 2 sentences together. This is not going to be our president. We better not let that happen. It'll be the end of our country. So I want to say a very big hello, Michigan. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Yes. Thank you all very much. We're going to have a good time. Look, I figured if it was a little bit later, it wouldn't matter. It's a Friday night, right? But you lose total track. Remember when Biden used to get up and it'd say, "It's great to be in Idaho. Sir, you're in New Hampshire." Oh. You know, if you do that, if you make that mistake, it doesn't matter. Winston Churchill was a great speaker. If you made that mistake, doesn't matter who it is. The evening's over. You're dead. But he used to make it all the time, right? It's great to be in Florida. And then you'd see it be Vermont or someplace. Crazy. What we've gone through with this group of incompetent people. And you know what? We couldn't stand 4 more years. Or you couldn't stand another. I'm not sure we can stand another 3-4 months of it. If you want to really know the truth. But I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals into our country, and I will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring it back. And this is all you really need to know. They broke it, and I'll fix it. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it fast. We're going to fix it fast. With your support on November 5th, America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. We're going to do it. We got a lot of work to do. You know, when they allowed 21 million people to come into our country in 3.5 years, think it was much more than that, I believe. They have no idea. Nobody even has any idea. You don't even know how big the country is. Is it 325? Is it 350? You know, countries usually know approximately what size. They allowed so many people. You have no idea how big the country is, but we'll figure it out. But we're going to get rid of the bad ones real fast. We have to. We have no choice. And this election is a choice between whether we will have and whether we're going to have 4 more years of incompetence and failure, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We're going to do that. Kamala Harris, Kamala. She's so bad, you know. No, she's so bad. Oh, can you imagine President Xi? He's a fierce person. Somebody said, "What's he like?" Well, I said, he's fierce. He walks in, we say, "Hello, we will immediately get back to work." You know, he's fierce. There's no games, you know, there's no games. When he sees this, he can't believe it. I guarantee you that. What the hell has happened to our country? So I say this. They say the biggest thing on the polling, the biggest thing they have is the economy, and then they have inflation, and then they have the border. And I disagree. I think the border is number one. I think the border and the inflation's terrible, and the economy stinks because of the inflation. It stinks because of the inflation. But I think the biggest thing is the border, because they've allowed millions of people to come in from prisons and from mental institutions and destroy our country. And we're not going to let that happen. But I really believe, does anybody agree with that? Because I do. Kamala Harris is leading a hate campaign now. She's got a new thing going. You know, I think now they're calling me a dictator. So they started off where I was a dictator. None of it worked. Then they went to, he's an evil genius. That didn't work. Then they went, he's a dumb son of a bitch. That didn't work. That didn't last long. That didn't last too long. Then they went back to the dictator stuff. They don't know what they're doing. Those poor people, those poor lost souls. They're like lost souls. They're radical left lunatic Democrats, and they all suffer from Trump derangement syndrome at a level. And she's joining. I saw Hillary today. We're having a big thing on Sunday at Madison Square Garden. And I guess in the 1930s or something, some guy who was inclined toward the Nazis had something, and she said, it's just like the 1930s. No, it's not. No. This is called Make America Great Again. That's all it's called. This is not right. You know, Hillary conceded. I don't know what's going on with her. 3 o'clock, 3:01 in the morning, she called me, and she conceded. I don't have to tell you the whole story, but she conceded. I don't want to be rude to her. Why would I be rude to her? She's rude to me. Why wouldn't I be rude to her? Well, I am. You know, when the crowd used to shout, lock her up, they'd shout, lock. And I used to go, right? Just relax, we're going to win. And then we won, and they still said, lock her up. And I said, just relax, we just won. Just take it easy. Because I couldn't see the wife of a president of the United States being put in the Husgau, right? I couldn't see it. Being put in jail, being put in prison, and, you know, she was also Secretary of State. And I hear her talking like, you know, there's never been a man investigated like Donald J. Trump, not Al Capone. Alphonse Capone, if he had dinner with you and didn't like you, you were a dead person. I spent more time under investigation than Scarface, Al Capone. But it's amazing. So there were a lot of people that wanted to put her in jail. They didn't give a damn. I said, no, you can't do that. The wife of a president. And then I get in there and they go after me, these animals, these dirty animals. I'm leading a movement of optimism and confidence and hope. And I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country again, because there's nothing to be excited with these idiots running it. You're going to start thinking about the big dream and the American dream. You're going to start dreaming again, and this will be America's new golden age. We're going to make it the golden age. We have a little bit of a, you know, we're sort of behind the 1 yard line. We got to get rid of some of the problems that they've caused. But the reason the enthusiasm is so good is because of that. If we would have done it the more traditional way, like you win and then you retire, I guess, for the rest of your life, right? What the hell? So we won, but they said, I'm sorry. And then we won again. We won, think of it. We'll say we won 3 times, but we don't want the results of the second. We don't want those results, but we're going to clean up the results of the second, and we're going to clean them up good. Because the results of the second, you take a look at the crime in our country, take a look at the crime. It's never been like this. When I was debating that fake newscaster on ABC, David Muir, a fake sleazebag, I don't watch him anymore. Everything I'd say, he'd say, well, no. I'd say, crime is through the roof, it's rampant. He said, no, crime is down. I said, only a stupid person would say crime. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to see statistics. The crime is up, and then when you add the migrant crime, which is going to make even our crime look like peanuts. And by the way, these migrant criminals, the only thing good about them is they make our criminals look like nice people, very nice people. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands, and it really is. You know, if we win Michigan, we win the whole thing. The whole thing. And you have to vote for me. I just killed the biggest car plant anywhere in the world in Mexico, owned by China. I just killed it. It's dead. It's dead. Detroit would have closed up. This thing's so big, and I heard about it. I've been talking about it. I've been up here a lot. I talked in front of the Detroit Economic Club. It was very nice. And I talked about these plants that are being built in Mexico near the border. They're going to make cars and sell them into the United States. It's going to be like making crackers, owned by China. And they were going to come through and they were going to destroy your business up here. You've already, I mean, your business over the years, look over the last 30, 40 years, it's been decimated compared to what it was. We're going to bring the car industry back to Michigan. We're going to bring it back to Detroit. But I heard about this big one in particular, but just these massive plants going to be built, and they're all set. You heard the story. A friend of mine, he builds plants. I said, take me to a plant. I want to see a plant. He said, we'll have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see one in the United States. He said, well, there's no big one being built by comparison. You want to see the big ones, you got to go to Mexico. I said, you got to be kidding. What's this all about? They said, no, we're building some really big ones for China. So I immediately thought, I said, how do we kill those suckers? And I said, we're going to put 100, 200, 400, 700. We're going to put the biggest tariffs. There won't be one damn car that's going to be able to come through our border. And I said, I announced it, and at the club I announced, and then, you know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was at an event, and I look and I see the guy's name is John, great guy. He's the big guy. He's the one that builds a lot of the plants, most of them. He's really amazing, actually. That's what he does. If he had to build a little apartment someplace, I don't know if he could do it, but he can build a plant that's 2 miles long, and he's great at it. And I said, how's that plant come? This was a year ago, the first time I met him. And he said, well, sir, they just canceled the plant. Who just canceled it? China. And Mexico is furious. Why are they furious? Because the plant was canceled. I said, really? Why did they cancel it? Because they said they thought you were going to win, and that if you win, you're going to put big tariffs on them, and they're never going to sell any cars into America and destroy Detroit. And they just canceled it, so we're happy, right? I just found out about it a few days ago. So we just killed what would have been the biggest plant probably anywhere in the world that was going to destroy the state of Michigan. So you're going to now vote for Trump, because let me tell you, Kamala is never going to be doing that. Kamala doesn't know she's alive. If you watched her being interviewed by Allison Cooper the other night, who's a nice person. Do you know Allison Cooper? CNN fake news. Oh, she said, no, his name's Anderson. Oh, no. If you watch that interview, you would never want her as your president. She couldn't answer the simplest question. What's going to be the first thing you think about? What are you going to do? I grew up with a beautiful lawn. She said that in the debate, too, the same stuff. I had David Muir and that other one. I don't even know who the hell her name is. I don't want to know her name. Somebody said, oh, we'll get her name. So I don't want to know her name. Why would I want to know her name? Just say, Madam, no name. But they were hitting me left and right. They're the worst. I'll tell you, actually, ABC might be the worst, but I think 60 Minutes has really topped it, though. 60 Minutes interviewed Kamala, and she was incapable of answering questions. And they took the main question, like one of the early, but a big question they asked, and it was, I don't like the word salad. I mean, it's like stupid, but it was just a big jumble of words. It was just like rambling on. It didn't go anywhere. And, okay, they asked a question. They took it out, threw it away, and they put a brand new answer in that was a fake answer. Didn't even pertain to that question. And they got caught. And to me, it's the biggest scandal in broadcast history. It's election interference fraud. And 60 Minutes should be taken off the air. They should. And CBS should lose its license. You know, the government gives those license to NBC fake news, ABC fake news, and CBS fake news. They have to pay. If they had to pay, they'd pay billions of dollars. They get them for nothing. They pay nothing. They're public airways. They pay nothing. And you know what? The one thing is you have to be honest. And they were very dishonest. And ABC was very dishonest with David Muir when he just never asked her anything. Everything I answered, boom, they would criticize. And they were wrong on, I think, all of them. And all of her answers were wrong. They never questioned her. This is interference with an election. But worse than that, I think, honestly, was 60 Minutes. They took her answer out and put a new answer in. Do you think they do that for me? If I gave a bad answer, you know what they do with me? I give a long, beautiful, flowing, weaving answer. It's the weave. I call it the weave. Very complex. You have to be very smart to do it. The main thing is you have to end up in the right location. If you end up out here, that's no good. But they call it the weave. What they'll do with me is they'll take out a piece and another piece, you know, and that's bad, but it's not like they can say, well, we want to shorten the answer. We have time, right? We need time. But they took this answer. I think it's the worst thing. And we're going to be suing them because, and I'm suing them on behalf of you. I'm not suing them for me. I'm not suing them for me. I'm suing them for you because that's really a fraud on the American people. So why should they get a free license and they do that stuff? They're so biased. It's so disgusting. And you don't get the real picture of a candidate. When they do that, you don't realize she's close to a moron, okay? You don't realize that because they give you another answer. It wasn't a great answer, but at least it was like semi-normal. So we're going to probably sue him. I think we're going to sue him. Should I sue him or not? All right, stay tuned. Stay tuned. It'll happen fast. It's such an easy thing. How do they go to court and say, well, Your Honor, we did do, but I mean, that was a big thing. It's got to be very embarrassing for them. They have no answer. They actually said they have no answer for it. They got caught cheating. And we want the rest of their answers because they probably did it with other answers too, right? Because this woman, can you imagine this is going to be your president? I don't think so. Michigan, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've been a horrible, horrible vice president. You've destroyed San Francisco. When you were the DA, you were horrible as the Attorney General working with Gavin Newsom. You destroyed California. You're a disgrace to your nation. You shouldn't be running for president. You picked the dumbest vice president in history, maybe even dumber than you. This guy is the dumbest guy. What a choice. Somebody said, you got lucky, sir. Why? They picked this guy. He's dumb as a rock. Of course, you could make the case that, you know, there's a theory, pick a really bad vice president, that way they never get rid of you. So maybe she did a very smart thing, who knows? But we're going to say, Kamala, you're horrible. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're useless. You're horrible. You're horrible. I'll tell you. You're horrible. I'll tell you what. Can you believe, though? She's out celebrating. You know what how do you celebrate when you're down by, like, a lot? Do they realize it? Because, you know, the votes are sort of, this isn't even polls anymore. These are the votes, you know, and if they come in even not like they're coming in now, even, you know, less good. But, and, you know, things can happen. Number one, they cheat like hell, so maybe they know something that we don't, right? They might know something that we don't. I don't know. Why the hell would she be celebrating when you're down? Maybe, never thought of that. Maybe she knows something we don't, but we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen. Can't let it happen. But the polls are open for early voting here in Michigan, and we're setting all-time records in the votes. You know, the votes we're setting all-time records in the votes because people, look at this place. I mean, what is it? What time is it tonight? What the hell? What is it? Huh? Right? It's 11. He said it's 11. I mean, it's freezing out. Is anybody cold? I'm not cold. I'm not cold. So we're setting records with the votes. The early voting is records. The Trump people are coming out. They're voting like crazy. And, you know, typically we get our voting. The big voting that we get is at the end. So we were anywhere near tied, and we're more than tied. We're going to have a big time. It's going to be the greatest. It will be the single greatest political victory in the history of our country. Right? MAGA. Make America great again. So let's keep going. Don't let up. I shouldn't have told you what I told you tonight. But now I have an excuse. I said, well, we made a mistake. No, I shouldn't have. They said, don't tell them, sir. Don't let them keep over. You have to vote anyway because you can't trust them. Right? Too big to rig. Too big to rig. We have to bury the hatred and the lies and the avalanche, and we have to do it in an avalanche of votes. And every time you see a smear, every time you hear them attack, take the motivation to go out and vote, vote, vote. You just go and vote and get your friends and tell your girlfriend she's got a husband, he's a big slob of a guy, and tell him to get the hell off the couch, Harry. You big slob, get off the couch. We're going to vote for the president. We're going to make America great again. We're going to make it great. Gotta get him. Gotta get him. With your help, 11 days from now, we're going to win Michigan, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we're going to make America great again. For generations, this state was the beating heart of the car industry and one of the greatest manufacturing centers anywhere in history. Yes. Okay. Doctor, please. Doctor, thank you. Take your time, doctor. Take your time. Plenty of time. Are they okay? Everybody okay? You all right? You let us know when. We got plenty of time. We love our people. They have a little problem. They have a little problem. We're okay. We'll wait. We don't give a damn, right? I'll tell you, we have such great doctors in these audiences. You know, you need a doctor, and those doctors are all over. They're great doctors, too. Great, great doctors. How's that going? Let's go. Okay, thank you. Let's go. But year after year, globalist politicians like Kamala Harris sold you out. And they let other countries loot, pillage, and plunder our wealth, our jobs, and our dreams. They just stole it from us like we're a bunch of babies. 40% of Michigan auto jobs were annihilated after NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. And I terminated it, by the way, if you don't mind, for the USMCA. And China's entry into the World Trade Organization was a disaster for this country. And they got all sorts of favorable trade status. They said they were a developing nation. Well, Detroit's a developing area. You can't say Detroit is exactly, you know. When I said the other day, last time I was here, I said, we got to bring Detroit, because honestly, for 45 years, I've been hearing Detroit, Detroit. We're going to make it great. But when I sort of gave it a little knock, I said, let's face it, we've been ripped in Detroit We got to make Detroit. They said, he was disparaging. I'm not disparaging. I'm telling you the facts. You need businesses to come back into this place. You need businesses, otherwise forget it. You can't make it. And people have to understand that. I guess probably a couple of politicians were hurt by that. I said, don't be hurt. You'll be happy when we have auto plants moving in all over the place, because we're going to do tariffs and we're going to do tax incentives and all this. You'll have so many plants and so many jobs, your head will spin. We're going to be bringing back the companies that we lost. We lost companies that was just so stupid how we lost them. And we lost them because we had dumb politicians. They're all coming back, every single one of them, because they want to be here. Under Kamala, the United States has lost 50,000 manufacturing jobs just in this year alone. You didn't know that, right? U.S. car sales are down 38% since I left office. Think of that. So you lost 50,000 jobs this year, and the car sales down 38%. I mean, a little more yet. Just think of it, almost 50% if you think, in just a short period of time. So where the hell are you going? You have this union guy, they want to make all electric cars. We're going to end the mandate for electric cars on day one. On day one. And electric cars are great. And Tesla's great, and Elon's great. He is the greatest guy, by the way. He gave me the... And there's a great market for them, but they can't all be electric. We have liquid gold, we have gasoline, we have oil and gas, we have gasoline. China doesn't have gasoline, and the electric cars are all going to be made in China. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So we're going to change it around. We're going to have hybrids. We're going to have gasoline-powered cars. We're going to have electric cars. We're going to have everything. Maybe not hydrogen cars. You know why? Because they blow up, and when they blow up, you are not recognizable. I just said today, I said, your husband's driving a hybrid and it blows up. Ma'am, would you please come down and identify your husband? He's alongside of that tree. And you go like this, I don't know if that's him. No, I don't like that idea. They say they work pretty well. That's not good. They work pretty well, but when they don't work, you can forget it. I think we should take them off our schedule, right? So you got to vote for Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights, and from Beijing to right here in Traverse City. Isn't that a nice place? Nice place. And you people are great. I can't believe it. You know, I figured when I got here, there'd be like 20 people, and I was ready to do the full. Look at this place. It goes back. I wish the cameras would show it. These cameras, the fake news. That's a lot of fake news, too, I got to tell you. Look. That's a lot of fake news. Now, I wish they'd show. They never show the crowds, you know? They never show it. You ever see Kamala's crowd? They put like 10 people. They bus them in. They take a bus and they pay people. That's true. They pay people. They don't get people. They put them like that, and the camera always shows those people. I don't know. It's so crazy, isn't it? We don't have buses bringing people. The people come here, and we appreciate that you stay. Really, I mean, look at that, all the way to the back. Starting in January, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the biggest and best market on the planet. But we're not always going to be the best market. We're close to blowing it. We'll blow it, and we will lose everything. And we're going to keep our dollar standard, by the way, 100%. We're going to lose that. And we're not going to go into World War III, little things like that. The centerpiece of this plan will be a 15% made in America corporate tax rate, cutting the tax from 21% to 15%. Now, I'm the one who was almost 40. I got it down to 21. But here's the key. We're going to cut it all the way down to 15. The jobs are going to be flowing, companies, because it's going to be about the most competitive rate in the world. But only for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. You're going to have more people coming in than you would believe. And you'll see. I mean, it's incredible. You know, Wall Street, these 4 or 5 geniuses from Wall Street, they say, where the hell did you get that idea? You get the tax cut, but only if you build the cars here. The other thing we're doing, I will tell you now, is we get you interest rates. We get you the interest. You're allowed to deduct it when you buy a car, but only if the car's made in, like, Detroit, meaning the USA. Anywhere in the USA is okay, but I would like to see it built here because I've been hearing about this experiment, for 45 years I've been hearing about it. And we're going to turn it around. We're going to do it. It's going to be a great legacy for all of us. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a stiff tariff when they sell. Look, when they put their products into our country, into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers, they're taking our workers away. They're taking our jobs away. They're taking our product and our companies away. We're not going to let it happen. So they're going to have to pay a very stiff price to do that. But what they're going to do is they're going to bring their business here because that way they have no tariff to pay. It's sort of simple, and it's what China's been doing for a long time, and I've been telling them for a long time, and what they're doing is unbelievable. These politicians, they're either dumb or they're crooked, okay? And I think it's probably a combination of both. We'll also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, reciprocal, meaning if China or any other country charges us 100 or 200% tax, then we will charge them a reciprocal tax of 100 or 200%. Right now, we don't do that. And I was starting it, and then we had a little bad election result, would you say? Think of what this country would be like. We wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have any wars because if you look at Iran, they were broke. They had no money to give to Hamas. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money. And there was no terror. You know, there was 4 years we had no terror. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine. They wouldn't have done it. Think of it. We had gasoline at I thought it was 187. It was 184. It was just adjusted. 184 a gallon. Think of that. Would you like to have $1.84 a gallon instead of $4? I will never apologize for defending America. I will protect our workers. I will protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our families. And you know what I said? They said, please don't say that, sir. I think women like me. But they say we're doing unbelievable with men. They've never had anything like it. White men, black men, men like me. They say women don't. And I say they do because we're going to protect. And I said, I'm going to protect women and families. I'm going to protect from the criminals coming in from the border. We're getting them out from foreign bad players, from criminals, period. We're going to protect. They said, sir, please don't say you're going to protect women. Why? Because it doesn't sound really well. I said, I think it sounds fine. We want to protect. I mean, that's our job. We have to protect. So I think I should override my experts. Do you agree? We're going to override them, if you don't mind. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. And thank you very much. If Kamala gets 4 more years, she will obliterate our economy, kill millions of jobs, and destroy your family finances forever. That's what's going to happen. You'll end up, if this person who doesn't know anything, she wants to raise taxes on everybody. If she gets in, you're going to have a 1929-style depression. That's what's going to be. It's going to be a disaster. You see it already. Think of it. Almost, look at all the jobs I just said. You're losing all your jobs in 3.5 years. They're going backwards. And you had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And inflation is a country buster. But with all of that, the border is worse. The border is worse. I don't give a damn how bad the inflation is. What's coming into our country, the murderers that are coming in, all these people, that's the worst thing. Kamala's inflation nightmare has already cost the typical family over $30,000 in higher prices, and now she wants to raise the typical family taxes by more than $3,000 a year. Lots of luck. All my life, I've watched politicians. They say, we will lower taxes. This is the only stupid politician she's going around. She's trying to run. I will raise your taxes. She's bragging about it. I will raise your tax. I'm saying, am I missing something? I don't know. We have some great people here. We're going to introduce them in a second. They're some of the best in the world at exactly what we're talking about. The taxing queen, as she's called, is also demanding a shocking 33% tax hike on all domestic production all along the largest capital. She wants the largest capital gain increase in our history, and it's unbelievable. Take a look at this video. You're getting a beautiful video late in the evening. It's beautiful. Play a little music. Go ahead.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Thank you. So I am going to massively cut taxes for the workers, and included in that is no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And we're going to get it done, too. Did you see where she copied me like a month and a half later? I am going to announce no tax on tips. That's the last time we ever heard of it. Not going to happen. She wouldn't be able to get it passed anyway. We will quickly become energy independent, and we will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill, right? We're going to drill, baby, drill. And I'm going to cut your energy prices in half, 50%. We're going to cut them in half in 12 months. We're going to cut your energy prices down. You know why? We have the liquid gold. We can do it. We buy our oil now from Venezuela. Can you believe it? Venezuela, it's not oil, it's tar. And the only refinery that can do it is in Houston, Texas. So for the environmentalists out there, that stuff is dirty. That's dirty. And we have the best stuff in the world. We have the most and we have the best. And we're going to use it, and we're going to cut down on our debt, and we're going to cut down on everything. We're going to turn this country around so fast. But your energy bills, your car, your air conditioning, your heating, your hot water, everything, it's going to be from January 20th, 1 year from that, you're going to pay half, and you'll be able to do it. And that's going to bring down other prices, including food prices. People are talking about groceries all the time. That's going to bring them down. As we restore our economy, we will also secure our borders. Over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted on our people. That's the border. She's eradicated our sovereign border, and she has unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. You're reading about it every day. They said, oh, no, they'll find people coming. They're not fine people. They got murderers. You got drug dealers. Kamala has imported an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, and she's resettled them into your communities to prey upon innocent American people. And you know, a lot of communities have them, and the ones that don't are even more scared because they don't want them. They don't want them. They're saying, please don't send them. And these are rough people. Some of them are really deadly people. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has imported into our country is the savage Venezuelan prison gang. Isn't that nice? They formed a group in prison. Tren de Aragua, very well known, MS-13's another one, that's taking over apartment complexes in Colorado and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America. They've even taken over a place called Times Square in New York City. It's a horrible thing going on in New York. Let's take a look.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America.
It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez Rangel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
Terrible. This is what we have coming into our country. It's terrible. The United States is now an occupied country. We're an occupied country. And you don't maybe see it around here as much, and who knows, but you probably will. But all over they're seeing it. And they're also taking Hispanic jobs and black jobs. They're taking jobs from the black population and the Hispanic population. And this crummy administration that we have is trying to hold back the numbers. The numbers are astronomical. Wait till you see the numbers of the black population lost jobs and the Hispanic population lost jobs. And they're trying to hold it till after the election is over because it's a disaster. And I think they're going to be forced, just like they had 818,000 phony jobs. Remember that a couple of months ago? And they didn't release it. They wanted to release the correction after the election, but we had a whistleblower who I like very much. I don't know who he is or she is, but but they announced it before the election, and it would have been a scandal if it were anybody else but them. But they created 818,000 phony jobs to pad their numbers. But it will soon be really an occupied country no longer. We're not going to have a country that's occupied. We're an occupied country. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. We're going to have Liberation Day. We're going to get them out. Kamala Harris is so grossly incompetent and unfit that she's obviously disqualified from being the President of the United States. How can you have a President of the United States? And by the way, the Border Patrol... Go ahead, take your time. Such spirit here, it's amazing, isn't it? Everyone loves everyone, it's a great thing. Everyone loves, yeah, take your time, doctor, please.